Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 209. I am Brendan. UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Sean Strickland. Jared Cannonier, Sean Strickland. This is the last UFC event of the year. We're going to cover the main card here, including Arman Tsarukyan versus Damir, Ismagulov, Alessandro Costa versus Amir Albazi, Alex Caceres, Julian Erosa, Bobby Green, Drew Dober, Cody Brundage versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. We will cover that. That is the entire main card. We're going to cover that here. If you're looking for the prelims, it's going to be in the next video. Before we get started, real quick, if you like MMA, you like podcasts about MMA, you like fight breakdowns, that's what I do here. I break it down round by round, try to understand the scorecards, give my own scorecards, my own opinions, break things down, why things went the way they did. If you like that stuff, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out. All right, let us get started. This was the last event of the year, and, this was pretty, meme of the kid. I mean, it is. It was pretty good. The main event, not lackluster is not the correct way to put it, right? So, Jared Cannonier ends up getting the split decision win over Sean Strickland, with a 49-46 going his direction on two scorecards, and 49-46 going the other direction on the other scorecard. So I will give mine. Before we get started, right on the outset, this is not a robbery either way. This is not horrible decisions, and I would not besmirch. We will go through the scorecards, but overall, I have not looked at them yet. I have not looked at the official scorecard. We'll go over that together. We'll go through round by round here, and then we'll look at what the judges decided and why Saul D'Amato was the dissenting judge, 49-46 in favor of Strickland, and maybe justify. Let's see if we can justify why he would go that direction. I understand Saul D'Amato gets a bad rap. I have been pointing out that recently he's made a lot of good decisions, and then last week he made a stinky one. So let's see, maybe he made a bad one. Junichiro Kamijo is all fucking all over the place, and Derek clearly was horrible, right? He's the one, Ariel Helwani's talking about traveling across the country, whatever, made two horrible decisions last week, according to a lot of people. I was one of those people who said he made one of the worst decisions I've seen, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, so just because Saul D'Amato over here is the lone dissenting judge does not mean he's the crazy one, right? Derek clearly can make some shit decisions, and Junichiro Kamijo has made some shit decisions, right? Focus. Talk to the hand, call waiting. I love, if you haven't seen RV, so if you have kids, like younger kids prefer probably, but teenagers will probably still get a kick out of this too if you watch it as a family, understanding you're going to be watching like a silly family movie. If you haven't seen the movie RV with Robin Williams, I highly recommend it. It's just good family fun. There's lots of cheesy stuff in it, lots of silly Robin Williams isms. It's worth a watch. It really is. It's just good old-fashioned family fun. I love that movie. Okay, to fighting, shall we? First round. Let's see how it go. So it'd be interesting to see. I wrote this down ahead of time, so I was like, it'll be interesting to see if Jared could use the reach that he has and the long strikes to get over the over that high guard of Sean Strickland, and utilize the fact that he doesn't move his feet a ton. Right? He does evade and he stays in the pocket and moves slightly to get out of the way, but he is hittable. Right? He is hittable if you're willing to stay in there, and we saw that play out a little bit later. Damn it! Jared was moving in and working his way over the high guard. Sean not catching anything super clean so far. He was working his way over that guard, right? But he just wasn't catching Sean with anything clean. Sean was using the jab and leaning his head out of the way, lifting the left arm, right, to kind of block that right hand of Cannonier. Sean caught a kick at one point, pushed Cannonier down. Jared got right back up. Not much to say about that, but then they were against the cage for a little bit. Sean was staying on the body lock, and then he would let go of the body lock, throw a hook, let go of the body lock, throw a hook. Effective as it was, Jared was landing some really nasty low kicks, and he just missed with some big right hooks in this round. Honestly, this first round, the most damaging shots of it had to be those low kicks of Cannonier. I know the total count might have gone to Strickland. So if you have never seen me, if you've never seen any of my videos before, I'll explain it here at the top. I do not look at these ahead of time and then come back and try to retroactively explain why I thought it was the way it was based off the striking numbers. I watch it live, score it live, so I try to as close as I can get to how a judge would score it live. I try to do it that way. So I do not know the striking numbers. Looking at them now, though, Cannonier was up. But I'm not crazy to think that Sean Strickland might have been ahead in the total striking numbers. He was 17-16, but when it came down to the significant strikes, Cannonier had the edge 16-13. So I gave this first round, regardless of that. I think that those leg kicks were the big difference maker in this round. I think those 6 leg kicks that he landed in round 1 were the most significant strike, and that's why I gave him round 1. So I'm up 10-9. Sean was finally following up that jab with the right with the right cross. The leg kicks were still landing for Cannonier in this round. He was throwing quite a bit of them. Strickland was he sure can have some boring fights, eh? Like, you can look at the output and realize, like, when I say boring, I don't mean it in the way that they're not doing anything. It's just that there's lots of moments of inaction followed by like pop, 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 pop. Like, it's not an all-out banger. There's not a ton of, it's because he also doesn't move a ton. He's very planted. He makes very subtle movements. He's not jumping all over the place doing cartwheels and shit. So if he has the wrong dance partner, it can be kind of boring. This wasn't this was less exciting than some of the fights earlier. Maybe that's why. I don't think it was a horribly boring fight. No. Sean landed some really good shots in this second round that Jared just didn't land as many of those big leg kicks that I thought he really could have. Now, he did land 8 big leg kicks. I just don't feel like they had all of them had that same oomph. So he might have landed overall the same amount of hard leg kicks, but the striking numbers did go in favor of Strickland, 28-25. This was a close round, though. Okay. Oh, by the way, yeah, go back and watch the Hermansson fight. That's the one I mentioned about boring. Hermansson versus Strickland, kind of boring. I even said I might give that one to Sean. So it was pretty close. Second round. So I had it 19-19. Strickland was now throwing 3-shot combos in this third round. Jared slowed down a bit, but then, he was having a problem with that right hand not being able to get over the top of that guard and land with some force. So Jared, he just picked up the pace. He started to bring it back up, pick up the pace, picking up the volume. He started landing finally with that right hand. I think Jared's volume really saved him in this round. He landed more, and I felt like he landed the bigger shots. Now, not landed more, as in he landed more shots overall. I feel like he landed more than he did the round before, which he did. So it's 35-33 in terms of significant strikes in favor of Sean Strickland, but I felt like the bigger, more damaging strikes came from Cannonier. So I gave round 3 to Cannonier. Now, next round. Sean his volume was consistent, right? I feel like his volume was pretty consistent in the rest of. In fact, he picked it up too. He went from 48, 73, 81, 87, and 111 significant strikes attempted, respectively. So Sean was just landing more. Jared wasn't throwing back as much. He was more stationary in this fourth round. Jared's still dangerous with that big right hand and that hard low kick, and he did land a couple. But Sean, even though he ate a couple big ones, I felt like. Here's the other thing is, I feel like there was 1 or 2 big shots near the end of that round that Cannonier landed that could have swayed the judges. I just don't feel like it was enough to outweigh all the damage Strickland did, because I felt like he landed some significant strikes as well, and he was out in front, 33-27 in this case. That is a bigger margin than any of the other rounds, right, as far as total striking numbers go in favor of one fighter or the other. Right, that's 6 strikes. I know that doesn't seem like much, but these rounds were contested tightly. There was 3 strikes was the difference in the significant strikes in all rounds but 4, right? 4 was the only one. What's a but for? Pooping, silly. Stupid. So I gave the 4th round to Sean Strickland. I had 38-38 going into the last round. Sean, okay, so this is important here. Strickland landed a right hand behind the ear of Cannonier early in this final round. Now, does that mean that shot was the most impactful as far as like how much force was applied? No, it doesn't. But damage doesn't equal force doesn't equal damage, right? Because if you punch someone as hard as you can, you punch them with 1,000 force units. Pick a thing. It doesn't matter what it is. You punch them with 1,000 force units to the knee. Yeah, I could hurt their knee, but it could also hurt your hand. And it's probably not gonna end the fight by punching their knee, huh? Right? Or if you punch their foot, stupid. But if you land with that same force to the jaw, now that's more damage. It's more likely to end the fight. Now, behind the ear is a special place because it knocks off your equilibrium. So you might not be rocked per se as far as like being wobbly or concussed or anything like that, but it knocks off your equilibrium, meaning that you're more likely to take damage and the fight can end earlier. Plenty of fights have ended because of a shot behind the ear and then followed by, a volume of strikes. I said all that to explain why I think that Cannonier's bigger shots that didn't rock Strickland don't outweigh him getting stumbled by a shot behind the ear. Now, I may have missaw that. Maybe he tripped a little bit. Maybe it just staggered him and caught him off balance, but that's how I saw it. And I know I know, like, you could be saying, like, oh, come on, Brendan, like, who gives a shit? But here's why this is important. Total striking numbers in here, 43-40 in favor of Strickland. Ultra close. And Cannonier landed very good shots in this last round. He landed a lot of big shots in this last round, but so did Strickland. So you want to ask, like, why does that matter that he landed behind the ear and I felt like that was a decent amount of damage and was closer. I feel like that shot was closer to ending the fight than anything that Cannonier landed. Why did I go into so much detail into the nitty gritty is because that's what we're talking about in a razor close, razor thin round. And because of that, I leaned towards Strickland. Now, if you count that up, that's 48-47. No judge agrees with me. All right. So with my scorecard out there. And then here's the other thing is like, could someone come to me and tell me like I'm wrong and explain to me in a nice, constructive way, not even nice, just constructive way why my reasoning could be faulty? Absolutely. Could we go, right, punch for punch and count this and find out, Cannonier probably won some more of those rounds than I gave him credit for? Absolutely, we could do that. But this was my take, my fresh take, watching it on the first time. That's how I got it. Okay, so now let's look at the official scorecard. Okay, starting with Derek Clearly, the man, the myth, the legend. He gave round 1, 2, and 3. And 5. 1, 2, 3, and 5. Okay, so let's see how I put that. Round 1, I agree. Round 2, I can buy it. Okay? I can buy that one. But that's not how I scored it, but I could, like I said, I could buy it. It was very close. Round 3, I gave that one to Jared, so I do agree. So this makes sense to me. And then Sean Strickland, I did give him that 4th round. I agree with that. And that 5th round, if you gave it to Cannonier, I'd like to hear your reasoning, but I'm not totally against it. This is not a bad scorecard. That's not a bad scorecard. Let's look at the other man, myth, legend, Saul D'Amato. All first 3 rounds to Sean Strickland. That's wrong. Sorry, Saul. I gotta call you out on that one. That one's wrong, bud. I mean, I feel like he's been doing a decent job lately. I just don't agree with this one. That first round, I don't know how you give that to Strickland. I really don't. Maybe because of the head strikes. Did he land more up top? First round, 9-3, and 4 to the body. I guess. And then maybe because of a little bit of a grappling exchange, you felt like he was controlling the pace in that moment. I don't agree with that first round. Second round, I do agree with, obviously. Third round, giving that to Strickland. again, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that scorecard or that round. Giving it to Strickland that way. I'm just not. Like Jared's volume really picked it back up. He was only down. Oh, I was sorry. I said three strikes separated in all the other rounds. It was 2 in this round. I am sorry. But that goes more to my point that this round was this round should have been Cannonier's. I felt like he landed the bigger shots, and it was so close and differential that I don't see how. Yeah, that's a bad one. Round 4, giving that to Cannonier. I guess those big shots swayed his opinion. I do not agree with that at all. I don't agree with that one. And the last round of Sean Strickland. Okay. That's how I saw it, but based off of the rest of the stuff, it's hard to buy that one. That one was all over the place. I'm not a fan. And then the last one here, let's go through Genichiro's. By the way, the reason why we're breaking this down so much is because these are all over. They mentioned it, and John Anik mentioned that no round was unanimous. Right? No round was unanimous for either fighter. So that means these are going to be all over the place, and I wanna see how they go through. So here we got first round to Cannonier, agree. Second round to Cannonier, don't agree, but I could buy it. Third round to Strickland, no, I disagree. Fourth round to Cannonier, I disagree. And fifth round to Cannonier, I disagree. Yeah, other than the first round with him and the last round versus Aldiamata, I think Derek, it sucks. I think Derek clearly has the most defensible scorecard here. As much shit as he's gotten over the past week, I feel like he has the most defensible scorecard. By that, I mean he could defend each round and come up with a good defense for why he made that reasoning. Not that he's going to fucking have to, right? Not that he has to, because they're not accountable for their actions. They're only state employees. Good win for Cannonier here. This is not a gimme fight. And switching over to the rankings, let's just take a quick look and see where that puts him. Obviously, coming off that loss to Adesanya for the title, he's already got a loss to Whitaker. Vettori could be a good matchup. I know Vettori has a loss to Whitaker. Whitaker's supposed to be fighting Costa. He's already fought Brunson. Just has a win over Strickland. That's a close fight too. I hope Strickland doesn't drop below Dolidze. I think that would be bullshit. You want to see him versus Dricus? It'll be exciting while it lasts. Either way, I think it'll be fun. That's it. That's a fun matchup. All right, let's move to the co-main event here. Not a fan of what happened in this one. Damir Ismagulov versus Arman Tsarukyan. Arman getting the decision on all three judges' scorecards, 30-27. Really dominant through grappling and control time, as you can see here. 3 minutes and 24 seconds, and then 2 minutes and 57 seconds. So essentially 3 minutes and some change in each round of control time. I believe he got outstruck. Oh, no, he didn't get outstruck in every round. Just the first. Oh, that's interesting. They were trading kicks to start. Arman was landing the better low kicks. I felt like on the striking, I feel like Damir, he just couldn't really open up as much as he wanted to because Arman kept moving in on the grappling. Arman got the takedown at 4 minutes, and he held on to the back body lock, got him back down to the mat a couple times. Arman was warned 3 times for grabbing the cage while keeping Damir against the cage. All right, you guys know my feelings on this. If you don't know my feelings on this, just go back and watch some of my other videos. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but I am going to call it out at the end of this fight. It's kind of fucking bullshit. He got warned 3 times. 3 times. in this round about grabbing the cage. Warning, no punishment. Damir opening up with Arman failed on a takedown, and Damir ended up in mount and then back up on the cage. Like, there was just some weird back and forth grappling exchanges that just Damir wasn't able to do anything with. And Damir opened up with the last 45 seconds. He just didn't land enough damage to get that round back. Even though he landed more significant strikes, I just don't feel like he did enough to outdo the amount of domination coming from Tsarukyan. It'd be interesting to hear Big John McCarthy score that round, because I'd like to hear his justification either way, because he's going to contradict himself. That round is a really good round for John McCarthy to clean up his oh, good grief, I can't think of the word. Look at me criticizing the way someone talks, and I can't think of a stupid word. That's pretty bad, huh? Delivery. Clean up his delivery. Good grief. I would like to hear Big John McCarthy's reasoning, how he scored round 1 of this fight, and his reasoning for it. And then I would like him to just adjudicate going forward based off of how he judges this one. The kicks from Arman were really nasty. He did such a good job with those things. Damir was more flippant with the way he was throwing stuff out there. It was really leaving him off balance, and Arman was taking advantage of that. He ended up with back control. He didn't get anything. They're back up at 2 minutes. Arman was holding on this whole fight. He was warned 2 times in this round. 2 more times in this round for grabbing the cage. And grabbing, he grabbed it a 3rd time, and the ref warned him a 3rd time. So that's 6 times total, guys. So if you count all those up, by the way, he won this round too. So I had him up 20-18. If you count the fouls, right? Let's just say he does it once in each round or twice in each round, not the 3 times he did it in each round and was warned all 3 times. Let's just say he does it twice, and on the 2nd time he gets a point deduction. First 2 rounds are 9-9 and 9-9, making it a tie going into the 3rd round here. Then in the 3rd round, he starts the fight by kicking him in the nuts. Yes, I understand it was an accident, but guys, this shit adds up. It adds up. You can't just do this shit. It's not okay. It's not okay. The fact that we just move on and we forget about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a couple fights here. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a couple fights here, but like a worst case scenario when this shit happens. Although this is also bad. But here's the thing. What sucks is Arman's a really good fighter. Tsarukyan is a tremendous fighter. His pressure, the way he was dominant in the grappling, he won the last round doing the same shit. I'm not going to break it down because I'm upset about this already. But not cheating necessarily, just he got this last round in the bank. What I'm saying is he is a tremendous fighter. Good cardio, great grappling, decent striking. He's got it all there. And his loss to Peter Yan, in his UFC debut, coming in on short notice and a decent fight, but a loss is a loss. Anyway, shows you his caliber and his mettle, and he's very good. But it takes so much away from it when you're doing this shit. If you throw a low blow, it affects the outcome of the fight. To what degree? That's what the referee's there for. He's there to adjudicate immediate punishment, whether it be positional change or loss of positional advantage, point deduction, right? A warning, whatever it might be. The loss of that, like telling him, hey, if you throw that low kick again and you hit him in the nuts, there's no more warnings. I don't care if it's an accident. So essentially taking away a technique from you if you don't want to run that risk. I've heard, we've seen and heard that one before, right? Like, hey, you keep throwing that low kick and it keeps riding high. Like, I'm not warning you anymore. Right? You throw that low kick again and it lands and it's a low blow, you're getting a point deduction. I don't care if it's an accident. You've been warned. It's not working for you tonight. In fact, I think those are someone's words. Like, it's not working for you tonight. I think it might have been Damir. I don't remember who was fighting. Anyway, that's what the referee's job is. It's not to sit there and allow the fight to continue for all of our enjoyment. No. His job is to adjudicate punishment, immediate punishment, because later on, that punishment can be questioned, revoked, changed. Like we can later on, we can decide whether or not that foul was intentional based off of replay, previous warning, whatever else, all the information that we have, and then we can judge it a no contest, a DQ win, a DQ loss, that kind of thing. So, anyway, it's bullshit. It's way worse in another fight that we're going to get to. So, maybe I'll save the rest of my rant for that one. All right. Amir Albazi versus Alessandro Costa. Fun fight. Costa was kind of getting pieced up in the second round here. Trading kicks to start. How often do I shouldn't even need to say that anymore. I should just change the name of my channel. Instead of Upkick, it should be Trading Kicks to Start. It seems like it's every fucking fight. Arman got the takedown at 4 minutes, holding on to the back body lock, getting him down to the mat a couple times. Oh, that's the last fight. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness. Okay, here we go. My bad. Nothing of note for the first half of that first round. And then it's kind of just back and forth, right? So they were going to strike for strike here in this first round, in the first half of it. Kind of a tentative start. Not a lot to score one way or the other. I went for Amir because I felt like he had the forward motion. And if you look at the striking numbers, 9-11, right? And Costa did attempt more strikes, but I felt like Amir was moving forward more. Amir had more control time of 35 seconds. And I don't feel like any of the strikes in either direction were so significant to outweigh anything. I mean, if you really want to look at it, the leg kicks, right? Leg kicks could count for two of the strikes that Costa threw and that put him out in front of Albazi. I don't know if there was anything about it that would lean me to Costa, so that's why I went with Albazi. And it was a close round. I know that, Albazi ends up winning in the third round here anyway, but in the second round, right hand from Amir put Costa down, and he spent the rest of the round on top. Not a ton of damage, but that was another round in the bank. So I had a 20-18 going into the last round here. And then Albazi got the takedown. Costa got up after a minute, but then took a crazy bad uppercut. Ooh, that was rough. And went out. Like, out. That was fucking nuts. Oh, good grief. Good win for Amir. Decent fight. After that first round, it's pretty tentative first round, but decent fight after that. All right, some fun nicknames here. Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy versus Julian Erosa. Alex Caceres getting the knockout in the first round. Boy, oh boy. This one gave me pause. I was taken aback, to say the least, about this one. So Alex is using long kicks to the body and to push Erosa away. Alex was sitting down on some of his punches, throwing big overhand rights and hooks, and just really throwing some crazy hard stuff. And Alex Caceres is known for that. He's throwing not known for throwing big punches necessarily, but throwing stuff a little bit off the cuff. Free flowing out there, throwing nasty, weird things. And he throws his big left hand, overextends, and is way off balance, leaning all the way over to his right. And then brings his left leg up over the top and whack right on the chin. Right on the chin. It was so bad. It was so bad, man. When you heard it live and it made that noise, and then you watch it and you realize there was no give in Erosa's face. It was just all that force. Oh God, right from the shin. It was nasty. It was very similar to the way that Kamaru Usman got knocked out. Very similar. With the big left hand forcing the head to the right, to their right, right? So you throw a big left hand, your opponent moves their head off center, And then because they're moving in this direction, you follow with that left leg over this side, and the force adds up. That's not true. That's not how force works. It doesn't add up necessarily. No. It just makes it so there's no give, right? Yeah. It's like when you hit a brick wall versus hitting a car going the same speed in the opposite direction. It's the same. Same amount of damage because it cancels out it cancels out the speed. Okay, or the momentum. Sorry. Drew Dober versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green, Bobby boy. All right. I like both these guys a lot. I mean, ever since Bobby was on the JRE, it's fun to hear him talk about the stuff. It's interesting the way he speaks, talking about how, and then hearing him talk about like his supplement stuff and why he popped on all those things. It's interesting, right? I don't feel like he's one of those guys who I don't care if he does or not. It doesn't bother me. His explanation as to why seems kind of not that it's. I feel like he's lying. I just feel like he's stupid about the way he approached that stuff, and it kind of put him in a bad situation. Green was landing a left hand and talking a lot of shit. Dober was making Dober smile quite a bit. His first round was all Green, man. Dober tried to get a lift and ended up on his back for a moment. Bobby Green was on top. He was doing damage a little bit, but then they got right back up. Dober landed a good hard leg kick. Dober got caught on the way in and got staggered. Green was landing really well. This first round, Dober just was eating a load of damage. He was trying to work his way in. He ended up landing a couple good left hands in this first round, but Green was way out in front, landing more damage, a ton of volume, keeping his range, avoiding some of the big shots, but it's really just the output. So the output from Green, which is, that's his not claim to fame necessarily, but that's his style, right? That's what he's known for, is just output. Very similar to the Diaz brothers, which I know he trained with and under and stuff. So, throwing out just constant volume, and he has a little bit of power behind it when he wants to sit down on the punches, but really it's just that volume, and it stops your opponent from coming back with anything. And when they do, they're a little bit off balance, or they're reaching, or they're overextending. They're doing things to get past that damage that's coming back at them, and it's putting them out of position and allows Green to either capitalize or evade. And he was doing a really good job this first round, 39-17 in favor of Green, way out in front, 10-9, in my opinion. So Dober was staying in the pocket. Green was landing more, right? Every time Drew Dober would land one, Bobby Green would land two. That's just how it was. Dober stayed in there, and he even, at one point, he landed a spinning back fist really hard. When Dober landed, he was doing big damage. But the thing is, he just wasn't landing as much. And Green was also backing up a lot, but he was the one landing the volume. Dober staying in, trying to keep the pressure on him. Then he ends up landing this left hand a few times, and then he misses it a couple of times, and then puts him out with a left hand. Holy crap! That left hand that put Green out was tremendous. It was a lot of damage. I haven't seen Green go out like that. Obviously, when Dustin Poirier caught him behind the ear and he went off balance, I remember that, but this is different. Drew Dober hitting him that hard, clean on the jaw, and putting him out on the ground. That was crazy. Also, Keith Peterson took a shot to the back of the head from Dober as he dove in to protect Green. Good on you, man. We don't often call them out enough. I think it's important to do so when I notice it specifically. Not necessarily I was looking for it, but I did notice it, and it made me happy to see that. Thank you. Thank you, no nonsense, Keith Peterson, for jumping in there like the way you did and taking that shot to the back of the head. All right, Dober, quietly on a 3-fight win streak here against Rafael Alves and beating Terrence McKinney. He beats good fighters and he loses to great fighters, right? Although I would argue this Brad Riddell fight was closer than people. Closer than it shows. I had him winning that first round, and then I had him landing bigger damage, even though he lost the total number. It was the panic wrestling from Brad Riddell that I think really put put him over the top in that one. It was a closer fight than I remember. Oh, yeah, those nothing takedowns because he didn't do anything with it. Obviously, the loss to Islam, inarguable there. He has a loss to Beneil Dariush, okay, who should be fighting for a title in my opinion. But he's got wins over good fighters. A loss to OAM, champion in another organization now, in the PFL now. Yeah, dude, he's a really good fighter. Drew Dober's always been good. He's puts together 3 wins, gets put up in another higher level of competition, and then, loses one. Then puts together 3 wins, high level competition, loses 1 or 2. So it's just the way his career goes, man. He's a good fighter that needs the right opponent at the right time, and he can have exciting fights. But I don't know if he really has championship skills. Right? He's got a great chin, good striking, decent grappling. It's just nothing the best, nothing the greatest. And it's also he's not good enough in each one of those things to necessarily put him over the top on a consistent basis against the elite, right? This is not to shit on Drew Dober. I love the dude. It like an honest breakdown of what I've seen is that when you put him up against someone who is elite, someone who should be fighting for the title, some guy with elite talent in some aspect, he usually loses, right? And then against good fighters, it could be a 50-50 for him, or it could 60-40 in his favor. Maybe it's 60-40 in the other person's favor, but he does land that big shot or whatever he needs to do. It's just, I feel like he's just not. It's weird because you look at the guy, he's jacked, he's got good cardio, decent grappling, not the best. Obviously, someone wants to grapple fest and wrestle fuck him for 15 minutes and 25 minutes in the main event case or something like that. Obviously, they could get that. So there's always that hole in his game, but he's a decent grappler. So unless you're like really good, he can kind of hold his own. His striking's phenomenal. Hits hard. Great. Like I said, great chin. I think he's built for exciting fights and being a good gatekeeper. He really is. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I think like if you can beat him, if you can beat Drew Dober, that means like, oh, hey, you got something about you that can put you over the top against a lot of guys in this division. Like I said, if you can wrestle fuck them down to the ground for 15 minutes, I mean, maybe that's not necessarily the best, the most glowing review of your skills. But it's not that it makes you bad. I love Drew Dober. I love Bobby Green. Good fight. Fun fight. All right. Cody Brundage versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Okay. Here. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it. The timestamps down below. Great. Whatever. It's too late now. This is the last one. This is the first fight on the card. You see there, Oleksiejczuk gets the win. This is bullshit. Okay? It's not that I think that Cody was going to win or that Michal couldn't have won this fight. It's not that at all. Cody got a takedown immediately. And then Michal grabbed the cage to stop a second takedown, but still eventually did get taken down. Then Mark Smith, that was a referee, right? Mark Smith. Yep. Mark Smith had to swat his hand out of the cage while they were rolling around on the ground, adjusting for position. And then Michal ends up getting on top. It wasn't immediate, and that wasn't necessarily the thing that led directly to him getting on top. That's yeah, and then he ends up doing damage and like landing some elbows and stuff and getting the TKO. Fuck off. I don't care. This is horseshit. This is worse than the other one because this one, his 2 fouls directly impacted what was happening in a way that was like I could say would be measurable because the position stopped. He stopped moving. When he grabbed the cage to stop himself from getting taken down, they both paused. That's how hard he grabbed the cage. And because of that, what does that mean for that position on the ground? Was Cody going to roll with that position and get on top and get back mount? Was he going to roll him away from the cage and pull Michael out of that position to allow for a better positional advantage and not giving him an out as far as like hip heisting and getting your hips to the cage and allowing yourself to escape? These are all unknowns, and that's fine. But the fact that he did that once and then immediately does it again and there was no point deduction. No point deduction. And Mark Smith decided in that moment, he's like, well, he already has his back, so what's the worst thing that could happen? This is the worst thing that can happen, Mark. This is the worst thing that can happen. Now, does this mean Michael wouldn't have been able to adjust and stay on top and get the damage done the way he did, and the finish would have occurred regardless of the foul? No, that doesn't mean that. That absolutely could have happened. Okay? I'm not MMA Nostradamus. I'm not claiming to see the future. Yes, I have a degree in physics, but I am not some like crazy physicist that can look at a situation and break down the mathematics and give you the likelihood of likely possibilities and the percentages of. I'm not doing all that. I'm saying purely from a rule standpoint, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Cody, not only did he take a loss, he took damage on the ground that you don't know. You cannot tell me with 100% certainty that that was going to happen that way. Because, yes, if that first one that got let go, you can make the argument that Mark Smith said, hey, or made a decision in his head that, okay, well, he was trying to defend. He grabbed the cage to stop from being taken down and his back being taken. And that happens anyway. Okay. So what do I do here? Do I get them up and get rid of Brundage's positional advantage and then take a point from Michael and then have them start over? Or do I just let the fight continue because he got the back take anyway? You can make the argument that he made a decision that makes sense. Not necessarily the right one or the wrong one, but it's a decision that makes sense. I'm not disagreeing with that, right? But I'm also not saying that's exactly what happened. I just explained a couple seconds ago that you cannot tell me with 100% certainty that that's the exact position they would have been in if Michael didn't grab the fucking cage the first time. Okay. And then now here's where we get to the meat of the argument here. The second fence grab, regardless of positional advantage on the ground, is horrendous and unacceptable because that fence grab, anything about it, you should lose position. You should lose point. Everything should be fucking taken away from you. But guess what? That didn't. And now Michael has a win on his record and Cody doesn't. Cody's got a loss on his record. And it also meant that he took some damage. Damage he didn't need to take. Damage he might not have taken. Based off of cheating. That's what Michael did. He fucking cheated. It's bullshit. Now, do I think Oleksiejczuk is a bad guy? Do I think he's a serial cheater? I don't know. I have to go back and look at the thing. My gut says I don't think so. I think it was just an instinctual fence grab, right? He was getting taken down. He panics, reaches up, and grabs the fence. Shit happens, man. Guess what? Shit happens when you poke a guy in the eye. Shit happens when you kick somebody in the nuts or knee somebody when their knee drops to the ground, it becomes an illegal knee. Shit happens. Guess what? You're responsible for the actions of you're responsible for your actions inside the octagon. Regardless of what your intent was, the outcome is what matters. And the outcome of this was he cheated. He cheated twice and got warned twice. Actually, got warned once, and the second time got his hand swatted away while his fingers were linked in the cage. I would have fucking taken him away from the cage. I would have pulled them away, given Cody the back position, and said, fuck you. No, that's bullshit, man. You can't I just warned you. You just were warned on the way down. Shouldn't even be giving you that. I should have taken a point immediately. I should have taken a point while you were on the ground and left it there because he still got position because you're a cheater. You cheated. Did you intend to cheat? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you intended to cheat. Oh, God, it just puts such a sour taste in my mouth when you see this shit. And it's like, I'm not a huge Cody Brundage fan. Like, he's a good fighter and all. But just to see the amount of just blatant disregard for all the fucking rules in MMA that just take place now. All of them. All the illegal strike. None of them, dude, it's to the point now when we see a guy get kneed in the head when he's on the ground and our instinctual reaction is, come on, hurry up and get up already. What are you fussing around? Quit farting around and stand up. That should not be our reaction. And the thing is, like, it's mine too, and that's wrong. Our reaction should not, maybe it's not. Maybe you're a higher level intellectual. Maybe you're just a more staunch individual as far as your belief system goes, and you're just not swayed by public opinion or anything going on in modern MMA. Maybe your opinion has never changed, whatever. I'm just saying, for me, and I know it because I see it on Twitter, right? I see it in the fighters. I hear it from the commentary. You hear it from the crowd. When someone gets kicked in the head or kneed in the head when they're grounded, our reaction should not be, hey, hurry up. What's taking you so long to recover? Our reaction should be somewhere along the lines of, that really sucks. That's stupid. Regardless if it was an accident, be like, you know what? He obviously gets a point deduction. And on top of that, whatever happens is that guy's fault. Right? It is not the fault. I said this when Sterling got kneed in the head when he was grounded. Right? Did I think he played it up? Yes. Right? In retrospect, do I think it's that big of a deal now? Probably not. Right? Because we saw them both healthy. What happened? He beat him. Right? Arguably, if you want, but I scored it for Sterling. So we saw that. But I argued that, like, it is the onus is on the individual who threw the illegal shot. We should not be blaming the other guy. Whether he hams it, we can criticize his reaction. We can criticize his actions post-fight, the way he treats it, the way he goes to the media and talks about it. We can criticize those things. But in the moment, our first reaction and subsequent reactions in the 5 minutes of recovery time should not be, hurry up, what are we waiting for? It wasn't that bad. I'm guilty of it too. I've done it. I know I've done it before. Right? Whether I posted it on Twitter or not, I know I've done it before, and it's wrong. I shouldn't be doing that. That's how bad the blatant disregard for the rule set that we have has gotten. That even the fans not only do we not give a shit, we think the person committing the foul is being wronged because the person who got fouled is taking too long. That's how fucking twisted we are. Like, I don't agree with some of the rules either. I think there should be knees and kicks to grounded opponents, the head of grounded opponents, right? I'm actually less of a fan of elbows than I am of knees to the head of a grounded opponent. I've explained that in a previous video. It's because of the cuts. I'm not a fan of cuts. It's not that blood makes me squeamish or anything, because it doesn't. It's not that. It's that it's not how I want a fight to end via cuts. It's not my thing. So, I know that I went off on a tangent here on the end of the video, and if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. If you like this stuff, if you made it this far, dude, I really appreciate it. This is the only video. If you're looking for the prelims, it's going to be in the next video. This is the only video you watch this weekend, thank you so much for your time. It means a lot to me. Click the like button if you did like it. I really hope I earned your subscription. If you if you do like this stuff, do that so you know when the next video is coming out. Yeah, I think if I just want to leave it, because I'm going to put out, I'll put out another video, obviously, before the end of the year. This is the last UFC event, so I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do. some sort of Christmas special. Don't know what it's going to be. I'll figure out something. But yeah, I want to leave this on a positive note. I don't have disdain for Michal Oleksiejczuk. I'm not a Cody Brundage ultra fan or anything like that. I think as a culture, MMA fans, we really need to take pause and just realize what's going on while we're watching stuff. That yes, we should enjoy what we're doing, and yes, there is an entertainment aspect to these things. And I get all of the rules and all the stuff that makes it more entertaining for us. Obviously, like stalling and things like that. I get that. But when it comes to the health and wellness and the future money-making potential of these fighters, the rules that are in place really need to be adhered to. And I think we need to start making a bigger stink about it. I think we need to start commenting on it more, really taking the referees to task. I think we need to really lay into the UFC and comment as much as we can about it, just to let them know that this is not acceptable, that we're not a fan of this, and at worst, we just make a lot of noise, right? But I think we all need to just really take a step back and realize, like, hey, these fouls are changing the way the game is played, and if we're not punishing the people for committing the fouls, we're affecting fighters' lives, okay? And it's not what they didn't sign up for that. I understand that the fight game, no one gets out scot-free. No one does. Something happens to you, whether it be injuries, repeat injuries, long-term injuries, brain damage, health concerns, loss of vision. No one gets out scot-free, right? And I understand that. And they understand that going in, hopefully, and they're signing up for that. What they're not signing up for is to fight under a certain rule set, follow and abide all those rules, but not have their opponent fight under those same rules. And because of that, now they're not training for those things. They're not training to defend eye pokes. Who's training to defend eye pokes? Nobody. Nobody's doing the Three Stooges. Why? It's because it's not an allowed technique. So we don't have to train to defend it. So it's like one person. I'll leave you with this. If we're playing one-on-one basketball and we play under standard NCAA or NBA rules, right? Outside of the 3-point line being changed, everything else, like the fouls and everything else, is normal. And you're playing a pretty clean game, right? Maybe you have like a charging foul. Maybe you have a reach-in foul here and there, or a blocking foul. Every so often you'll have a normal foul that gets called. And I'm out there punching you in the throat, kicking you in the nuts, kicking your knees, tripping you, and none of those fouls are being called. Basically, like what happens in The Longest Yard remake when Michael Irving's playing Adam Sandler. Like that. Imagine that. Not very fun, right? Kind of fucked up. Kind of stupid. One guy's playing by the rules and the other guy isn't. Kind of fucking dumb, isn't it? So I said I'd leave on a positive note. Let's just be better. I like me too. Like I said, me too. I'm guilty of this as well. I just want to be better about this. I want to be more consistent. I want to be more considerate of not only these fighters, like, purses and stuff, but their longevity, who they are as a person, their money making potential, and all that stuff, because that does add up over time, and it needs to be taken account of. And it starts with how you act and react in the moment, and just pausing just for a second before you write that tweet. Again, no one's more guilty of it than me. I get emotional, and I will, if I'm actively tweeting, which I try not to anymore. I haven't done that actively in a long time. I'm guilty of it. I'm that guy. That's why I don't tweet anymore, because I get overly emotional and I'll tweet out angry things and I'll be nasty. Like, why am I doing that? It's not healthy. Because if I were to take a couple seconds to think about what I'm saying, like, does it really mean what am I doing? Is this productive? So probably not. So let's try that. Thank you guys for making it through my rant here at the end. If you made it this far, I'm not going to put up the subscribe thing again. There's no need for that. You've made it this far. Please subscribe if you do like this stuff. It means a lot to me. If you don't catch the next video because it's not a fight breakdown, Merry Christmas. Whatever holidays are coming up, New Year's for you. I don't know if there's any other holidays that are coming up. Enjoy those. Enjoy the time with your family, your loved ones, your friends. Thank you so much for spending your time here with me, and I love you all. Have a great week, great holiday season. Merry Christmas.